Hello. Good evening, everybody. I think we've got Michael's in the house. Michael's in the house. We've got the spear throwers in the house as well. We've got the spear thrower. You've got to watch them spear throwers. They throw their spears everywhere. How we doing, people?
All is well. How are you?
Happy days. Can everyone hear me? Everyone hear me? That's
Yeah.
all good. Happy days.
I'm absolutely average.
No, you can never be average, Michael. You're
I
far
am.
better than average.
I'm average. Average on
What's
the
up,
Monday,
darling?
mediocre, darling.
You want to talk
Probably
about
my
it?
thingy. As you get older, your thing is playing up, and my thing is playing up at the moment.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
do you want to talk about it? You don't want to air it on. You don't want to air it on normal telly like Will Smith and. Anyway, I'm not even going to talk about that. All that slapping going on in Hollywood. I mean, their ratings are so terrible in Hollywood. They got to come up with all these stupid things they're doing. They're making themselves look like Wallies.
I've got to say, Dave, the ticker tape from the bottom is like cutting me throat.
Hang on. Sorry.
I know. Thank you. I feel happy now.
Oh. Is that better?
Thank you.
Right, who we got in the chat room? We got Jesus Jones in. He's a 5v5, which is letting us know that everything's okay. Wall to wall and treetop tall, good buddy, Edward Goldtooth. He's a dude. You'd love Eddie, Mike. He's proper. He's proper, and he's got a lovely family.
Where are you from, Eddie? Where is he?
Ed's not far away. Loves his Jags. Yeah, I think he might be.
Eddie, are you a Londoner?
We've got a gold tooth, Eddie the gold tooth. Lovely, man. I've met Eddie.
I had one till I was about 15. A gold tooth on my front tooth, yeah. And I had to have it. I had it removed, obviously, because I had my cosmetic surgery done, darling. But so I that old Dagenham.
He's in the norm. He's in the norm.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the norm, man. Robbie Norris. Wait.
Can I just say, hello, Rob? I was just saying that how awful it is. Oh, have you been reading about what Disney have been doing?
Disney?
Yeah.
I mean, Disney have now stopped. Everybody being called ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. That's gone. It's hello, friends, or just hello. They are now teaching gender across their programs. They're putting in, trying to turn from 3 to 8-year-olds about lesbian, gays, and everything else. Teach about their genitals. Do you want to change your sexuality? Do you want to become a woman? At 5 and 6 years old, they teach about gay sex. I mean, it's just the most disgusting, despicable act. And if anybody's got Disney, they should just get rid of it straight away and never go and watch another Disney film, because I won't. And I love Star Wars and all that stuff, but I won't go and watch it now. I won't pay for the pleasure of watching it in any circumstances.
The thing is, Mike, right? Disney's come out with this, but they've been doing this for years, because if you go back through a lot of their stuff in their movies, there's a lot of subliminal stuff in Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. There's penises. And if you freeze it, you'll see it. Disney's been doing this for years, man. I mean, I can remember when my daughter was probably 2.5 to 3. I can remember I was living in City Way at Rochester at the time. I had a nice little 3-bedroom house that I'd renovated. And as I walked past her in front of the TV, she did bat an eyelid. She didn't even recognise. I walked in the room and I was like, Christ, that kid is just immersed into that TV screen, like sucked. The TV screen, when you're a kid, it just sucks you right in. I wouldn't let kids watch it nowadays. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one.
I've got to say, Dave, I mean, when they were challenged by Fox News, I mean, if you like Fox, they were asked, well, what are you going to call a prince and a princess? How are you going to call a prince and princess? What are you going to do about that? And they wouldn't comment on that. How many of Disney's films over the years have involved prince and princesses? I mean, are they all going to call them old queens? I mean, because that's basically what it comes down to, doesn't it? Hello, darlings. How are you, you old queen? Oh, I'm an old queen too, but I haven't got tits. Well, you know, don't worry about it. You're on Disney, so that makes any difference. It's disgusting. Don't sit on his knees. That's. Anyway,
there's some really dark forces.
We need Alan on here for that. Sorry?
There's some really dark forces, man.
I've got to tell you, Dave, the world's going nuts. I mean, I wish Putin had pressed the button and blown us all up, because we don't deserve this world. We really don't.
No,
I mean, what the fuck are we allowing these left-wingers to do to this country and the world? I mean, it's like having a pure complexion and having one tiny little spot that itches like, and the more you scratch it, the more it gets red, and the more it, literally red, and the more it grows, and that's what's happening now. And you know, I feel sorry for children. They're just pawns in this game, being used by complete wankers. And Kerry Ann, you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
Speaking of filth, did you see that PCSO get caught on video wanking off on a park bench?
Really?
Yeah.
I hope they were socially
distancing. That's disgusting.
I hope they were distancing. I hope there was a 2 metre thing going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Sat on a park bench, started cracking one out, looking around like, but somebody was filming him.
When you need to go, you need to go. You know, we've all had these little moments come over us. You might have had a nice sort of chili and then looked at your missus and thought, phew. But
that's different. I mean, the thing is, I mean, these people have, I mean, like the police, how many policemen in the last couple of years have been done for every sort of crime, from murder to child molestation? I mean, the police, we recruited 30,000 scumbags, deviants. That's what they've recruited, because they're paying a pound less, or they're not of this nation. I mean, they are not English. They're not English.
Maybe some manufacturing company needs to come up with a thing called like a wanking tent or something. So when you're in a park and you're in Hyde Park and you're watching the geese and you're feeling a bit fruity, you pop up your wanking tent. You knock one out. No one knows. No one knows.
That's fair enough. Yeah, but
the mounted copper's going past on your space. Says, "Oh, you look very happy with yourself today. I'm having a nice time. Got my wanking tent on the go."
No, I got it. In France, they have what they call the pissoir, where you can go and just walk and take a piss. You can go just knock one. I mean, I think it's absolutely disgusting. I really do. I mean, there's enough wankers in this world. We'll have people sitting on park benches, sort of doing it in public.
Don't that turn into a bit of a trip hazard, though? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We are going out live on YouTube, Facebook, and obviously Wake Up UK. It could be a bit of a trip hazard. You know, someone walks in there. You can't say, "Oh, I slipped on a banana skin," can you? I slipped on semen, Your Honour. It was horrible. I fell over in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, literally. I mean, the policeman could say, and we watched him. He was really coming it, you know. There's a turkey down here very often.
Right, listen. I watched the telly. My mum and dad used to have a big old TV set on their mantelpiece there with the big valves in the back, and it was back in the day when it went bust, the TV man had come round, set his air alight, and put a new valve in it and get it going again. Right. But I can remember, as a young kid, sat there watching Finger Bob, Captain Pugwash, Master Bates, Muffin the Mule was an extremely offensive thing.
Seaman Stains. That was all urban myth, though. So, you know, Roger the cabby boy, you know, Master Bates, Seaman Stains. It was urban myth. It never really happened.
Jesus,
you wouldn't be able to say that, would you?
No, Jesus. Saying, this conversation's going downhill. So let's brighten up the subject. Where you been today, Michael? You look like you've been somewhere quite nice.
Well, it's my birthday next week.
Oh, I know it is.
You're for a sausage sandwich morning.
Oh,
do we should explain what a sausage sandwich morning is?
Yeah. No, leave it.
Dave comes around my house, puts my house right, and I feed him a huge breakfast. Mostly sausages, bacon, eggs, tomatoes, and beans.
Yeah, it's lovely.
We sit down, we take the world to pieces. It's wonderful.
No parents are porn they give off to offspring to demand blackmail praise, behave to pacify, blah blah. Yeah, man. Well, you're right. Disney's it's all gone too far, hasn't it? Well, we know. But maybe, just maybe, the judiciary are starting to pull in, coming in on rates, because we now know that trespass, unlawful trespass, is still a thing. We've got the judgment on that from last week. We're in exciting times. We are. Look, as much as the darkness goes on, we know. Here's the thing: when you're aware of what goes on, you know how to deal with it. You know how to not pay attention to it, and that's key with all of this. With regards to energy companies, with regards to council tax, with regards to all of the dark stuff, is when you're aware of it, you know how to deal with it. You know how to sidestep it and not take notice of it. And if we all refrain from watching Disney, then Disney goes bust and it is no more. If we all refrain from having councils, they would have to have a different dynamic. We'd have something new, something different. So for me, it's all about whether you put flames on the fire, and I'm not prepared to put flames on them fires. I'm just not going to do it no more. And I think we all need to do that. We know it goes on, we know, but they've been evil and wicked for a long time, Mike. Even going back to when I was a kid, watching kids things, you know, which was all innocent. Muffin the Mule, Finger Bob, and all that. I mean, Jesus, Finger Bob. Can you imagine?
You wouldn't get away with it, would you? You wouldn't get away with Muffin the Mule. I mean, the connotations are just too disgusting. I mean, the thing is, we'll take it as like, you know, as what it is, you know. But I mean, like Ragtag and Bobtail and Noddy and all that stuff. I mean, Noddy now is considered to be gay. I mean, so they, you know, it's just inconceivable that, like they said, that Enid Blyton should be blasted off the screens and got rid of books. Billy Bunter, one some of the funniest books I read as a kid about a fat bloke who liked eating buns. I mean, he was got rid of.
Yeah,
was got rid. I mean, they got rid of all these people. For what reason? For no reason. No reason other than the fact that we've got the left-wing media, the left-wing little lubbies have got their things to destroy everybody. Yeah. Oi, Salvador, it takes you back.
It's Carlos. You can't knock a bit of spear thrower. What things did you grow up on, spear thrower? What sort of took your attention as a child?
Anything sci-fi, really.
I thought he looked a type, didn't he?
What did he say? Sorry.
Anything sci-fi. I used to love things like Space 1999 and stuff.
Joe 90.
Oh, hello. Cool. Hello. Jenny's got a raspy cough.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you've been nice to Jenny. You've been nice to Jenny.
Yeah, it's my dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tracy, Sharon, the fat slags. Oh, yeah.
Eddie Goldtooth grew up on Tracy and Sharon, the fat slags. Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play.
I got to cut their albums. I got to cut the albums. Absolutely.
We must pay attention to it so we know its next move, Dave. However, all is energy, therefore we must divest our energy away from the evil. I mean, look, Aurora Storm has just backed up exactly what I'm saying. So you was a bit of a sci-fi, was your spear thrower? You liked all that nanu and all that sort of business?
Yeah, I found it entertaining. And the usual stuff like, you know, your Dukes of Hazzard and your...
Daisy Dukes?
You know, all that kind of stuff. Starsky and Hutch.
Can I interject here? And yeah, I'm being nice. My daughter yesterday sent me saying, I meant to pass this on. She's saying that everybody should take a picture of what's on their meters, actually gas and electricity today, and get it dated, because what the word is that the companies are going to backdate and say that you will charge you this. They'll charge you more money for stuff that was charged at a lesser rate. So make sure you get on your telephone, take a picture of your meters with the readings on it, and make sure it's dated, so they can't come around and say you owe us this because we're charging you for that, because that was on the old rate, and they say no, it fucking wasn't, mate, because I've got that to prove it. And so make sure you do that. Or just a little word there from us.
It's like, Michael, it's like we're at flip our own infrastructure.
Talking of infrastructure, where's that?
Well, no, the gas and electric and all that. It was they were never supposed to be private companies. It was all supposed to be for the people, by the people. They weren't supposed to fall into private hands. It was only when Edward Heath threw it all up and we got involved in all this European project and give give the sovereignty away. Energy companies would never ever be able to get away with this, and now they've got carte blanche. And the thing is, my mate's got a document that clearly shows that in 2008, when the banking crisis took place, and we was all told by Gordon Brown and whoever that we were bailed out by the people. We wasn't. What actually happened was 50 big corporations put up bundles of cash to go out into the mainstream so people can carry on getting their eggs and bacon. But basically what they were given was carte blanche on how they operate and what the hell they get up to. And this is why we're being fleeced by So Energy, British Gas, E.ON, because they've got carte blanche now to do what they want. Well, that's going to backfire on them.
The thing is, Dave, I mean, it gets back to the unreal world of money. Now, we know, you know, and everybody else knows, that to have £100 billion, £5 notes, 100 billion would fill two hangars full of, two airline hangars. It's that much. It's that much money. Hundreds of billions of pounds is that much money. They stacked it up. It's taller than the 3 Eiffel Towers. I mean, it's the most extraordinary thing to do. So what is money? If there is no such thing, it's just digits on a screen, and which are moved around. We do it every day. You go in and use your card, or you go and exactly. That's it, Dave. So where is the money? If you go around to a bank and say I want to draw, and you're a billionaire, I want to draw out £1 billion, they can't do it. They can't. They can't do it.
This is a promissory note, and this is good because in the middle it gives you the law. It says subsequent to the Bank of England having honoured their promises on their banknotes by Lord Commissioner of His Majesty's Treasury under the authority of an Act of Parliament. Tender in terms of the Bills of Exchange Act 1882, chapter 61, 45, 46, and settlement in terms of a High Court ruling. So this is real money. This is you becoming your own private banker. And when this one's going to be going off to an energy company, and it's going to stuff them, because I'm going to say to them, if you don't accept it, I need your reasons why you think you can break the law. And I'm going to enjoy seeing you in court where you can explain to a judge why you're dishonouring the Bills of Exchange. Now, we know last week when judgment was made in Robert White's case that actually the police, in doing what they were doing and assisting bailiffs in a civil matter, actually become unlawful trespassers and lost any immunity that uniform provided and become common criminals in as much.
And it must be true, Dave, because it was actually reported in the Telegraph, as I told you. The Daily Telegraph actually reported this. And
the case,
it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
The case is done. That's it.
Look.
It's Alan. He's been rescuing great crested newts.
I thought it was Yoda. I thought it was Yoda. I did. And I know why you come on late, because you get in late and you have to go and shave your head, didn't you? Come on, don't
More like bullshit, bro.
Well, you ain't just sat underneath a downlighter at the minute because it looks rather shiny,
Hang a try.
And he comes on to be abused. He loves it.
I can go and get my Mrs. Powder Puff. Maybe confused the evening. Let's spear throw. Spear throw. What you saying? Spear? What you saying?
When his head lit up like that, it looks like a bulb.
It looks like
you look like that's awful. You look like you're in a ghost train or something.
Oh, hang on. Gordon Bennett.
That's
that bad.
Worse. No, turn it off.
The camera.
No, you're all sort of. You look like I don't know, something like Nosferatu or something, you know.
Hang a trap. Let me turn this one off.
That's much better. That's better. It's all right. It's not Hollywood. It's not Hollywood. It's fine, honestly. It's trying to put a bit of colour in your cheeks, aren't you? That's too much. You've got all bleached. I'll turn it off. You look better when you turn it off. Spear throws that. Oh, he's gone. It's just me and you. Bugger.
Is that better?
Yeah, you just got rid of them. They've run away. Look, they. Yeah. Your glasses.
Sorry,
all,
I didn't mean that.
your glasses have got what, like little reflections because they've got too much.
Yeah, because I've got the light behind me in front of me.
How's your wife anyway? How's the wife this week?
Got a meeting on the 5th.
Right. It's my birthday.
Discuss. Is it?
Yeah.
I'll make sure I say happy birthday before round about then. But yeah, got a meeting on the 5th to discuss where we go, and the granddaughter seems to think she might be better off in the care home, but
What do you think?
she needs
24/7.
with the medication, medical needs, one for a better way of putting it. Because in the care home, you've got somebody there 24/7, and they've got a nurse there 24/7.
Yeah, but do you trust them?
I think I trust them more there than I do these people that come to your houses.
Yeah,
Because I think some of the people that come to your houses are not as qualified.
yeah, okay.
They're agency staff, some of them, and some of them, I've seen them with the guy across the old boy that lives across the road. I've seen them come 5 minutes later. They've gone outside for a fag, right? They've gone back inside, and then they piss off, and they're supposed to be there sometimes 2 hours. But this is people don't know about this because they're not being watched. People aren't seeing what's actually going on. You know, unless relatives turn around and start speaking up and saying this is actually what's happening, there probably are cases out there where people have said something about it or tried to do something about it. But you try to take the system on,
You can't.
and that's when you fall over.
Yeah, that's right.
Because at the end of the day, they won't let you monopolise or try to beat them in any way, shape, or form.
That's terrible.
The system is so bent and corrupt, and they've got away with it for how long they got away with it? They got away from it since year dot, and because they're so good at getting away with it, they pursue it, and they carry on doing it.
Oh well. And whatever you do, I'm sure you'll do the right thing, Alan. Because you're just not going to sit there and take it, are you? I mean, you're going to consider it and take it.
Well, she gave me some paperwork the other day. And she said, "Can you sign this?" And I said, "In the care home." And I said, "Let me take it away and read it." Yeah, of course. And a couple of days later, I went back and she said to me, "Have you signed that bit of paperwork yet?" I said, "No, I've given it to my solicitor." I hadn't given it to my solicitor, but I said, "I've given it to my solicitor to see what kind of reaction I got from her." "Oh, yeah, that's fine. I said, "I want him to read the small print." And then I went today and she said to me, "Oh, have you got that bit of paper?" I said, "Yeah, you've highlighted a bit my solicitor picked up on." And it turned around, if I sign that bit of paper, right, does that lead me to fall if it's not paid? Or is it going to fall back on me, payment for her care? Because it's strangely the way you've put it. And I said to her, if I put CC in front of it and then sign it, is that acceptable? And she said, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, well. Anyway, on a happier note, if there is one, I mean, when you look around the world, there is nothing. I mean, the thing is, there is no. I mean, if we're in trouble, I've said it before. If we're in trouble, right? Who'd you ring up? Who'd you call to get out of trouble? If someone's robbing your house, you ring the police. They go, "Yeah, we ran a couple of days."
Yeah.
If your house is on, the only chance you got is your house is on fire. And they might turn up. You know, they turn up pretty quick. And that poor old sod, he's laying on the floor 12 hours, 12 with a broken hip. 12 hours he's laying. He fell over, broke his hip. 12 hours in agony, laying on the floor, waiting for an ambulance. And that's what we pay. We're just giving them another 150 billion quid. So to me, the NHS now has got to go. It's got to be got rid of, and we've got to put a system in place which is free at the point of use. Absolutely, it's got to be that if you hurt yourself or something happened, you have a crash, that they'll come in no charge. But long term, there has to be a way of not spending all this money on a second-rate system, which is run by a load of bureaucrats who haven't got a clue. Look what's happened in fucking Shrewsbury in this maternity, and how many other hospitals are guilty. So who's going to get blamed for that? Who's going to get blamed for those poor women that went through wouldn't give her a C-section? Made her have a natural birth. What the fuck is this? Is this Auschwitz? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Are they doing experiments to see how much pain a woman can take? I mean,
I wrote the figures down there, Mike. I wrote the figures down. I'm sure I did. It was. I wrote all them figures down. Hang on, let me just see if I can find it. I think. Let me see if I can find it. I written the figures down. Right, so 201 babies could have been saved by Telford. Really? 201, and there's over 600 cases. 600.
What, pending review or pending action?
Yeah.
That's going to cost. I mean,
by Shropshire and Telford NHS.
Yeah, but that doesn't. That they don't pay for it. We pay. We the taxpayer pay for it. At the end of the day, they're not taking responsibility. They can do. They like just walk away. Fuck it, you know. I'm on a pension anyway. I would take their pension away. I would take everything away from them. I say because you've committed murder. Basically, you have committed murder. You have killed. That's infanticide. What you've done. That's murder. As far as I'm concerned, they should be put in a place where they shouldn't be able to dictate terms to anybody, which is basically prison. Because I mean, why are these people allowed to sort of run around with bits of paper and a pen, saying this is how you run a hospital? It clearly isn't the way you run a hospital. The way you run a hospital, you're there to look after people and make people well and happy and put smiles back on people and make you feel confident. How many people in the lockdown and these wouldn't go to hospital because they won't go to hospital because they're frightened of dying. The chance of dying, of course, are very slim because so very few people died of COVID. I think that the actual figure is under 3,000 in 1 year. Under 3,000 people actually died of COVID only. Out of the 188,000 reported deaths, only 3,000 died. And that's the official figures on the ONS. That's the official figures. And the biggest one was over 90. Well, when you're over 90, I'm 71 next week. When you're over 90, you don't expect to live forever. Like my mate's dad, he came and said, "Oh God, my dad's going to die." I said, "Well, how old is he?" He said, "My dad's going to die." I said, "Well, that's real. I'm sorry about that. What's wrong with him?" He said, "I said, well, he's 95." He went, "Yeah, he's been given 3 years to live because he's got cancer." And I thought to myself, "What the fuck? What do you mean he's got 3? He's got 3 years to live. He's going to be 98 when he dies." He said, "Yeah, but he's my dad." I said, "But he can't live forever, can he?" And he said, "But it's not the point. He's a fit man." I said, "He's not fit. He's got cancer. He's 90. He's 95. He's going to die when he's 98 or before." So, you know, I mean, what?
Yeah, but can you believe what I just said, Mikey? Mikey, can you believe what I just said? There's 201 babies could have been saved.
Exactly.
201.
So who murdered them?
It is.
They've been murdered.
Yeah.
Allowed to die.
Yeah, allowed to die, yeah.
That's right. So this Dr. fucking Mengele.
Yeah, somebody said that, I think, in the chat. I'm sure it was something like that. God, we live in such fucking strange times. Yeah, I was watching, I've just been, before I came on, I was just watching a live that was done in London with Storm London and Spearfro's trying to get in. I let Spear in, should I?
Yeah.
I've let Spear in. I'll let Dave in as well. Fucking hell, it's a great show and I'm letting everybody...
Where you been, sweetheart?
I've had internet troubles, haven't I?
It's your show, Dave.
I thought it was Piles. I thought it was Piles.
You was in the background, Dave. I let you in.
Yeah, not now. Not after the doctors sorted me out.
Yeah,
I've got
to tell you, Dave, your arse is too close to the ground on that velo. That's what it is. I reckon you get a little bit of updraft.
I took the van out today, went round to Sainsbury's. I couldn't believe it.
You could have come past and picked up the golf clubs.
I was in. Could you hear me? I was whacking it around. You can tell by the way I hit the ball.
I mean, I give him a complete set of golf clubs, some nice clubs, a bag, a trolley, and he won't come around and pick them up. He only lives around a corner.
He's gone again.
I know. You know what it is? He's got to get some tissues. That's what it is. He's not one out. Anyway, so if there's anybody, I can't see the chat room, you see, so I don't know what it's saying.
Well, I can only see we're on YouTube, but I can't see the wake up chat.
Isn't anybody?
I might get my phone and just have a look at the wake. Let me see if
hasn't anybody got anything happy to talk about? Has anybody got anything which makes you sort of bring a jolly laugh, a smile to one's chops? No, there isn't. There's so much. I mean, I've read so much about the Ukraine, and I've seen so many things going on in the Ukraine that they've now got Russian soldiers leaving the Russian army and going over to the Ukrainians. There's a fabulous film today of you see a British-made missile, a Stinger, taking out a Russian helicopter, and the guy goes, "Thanks the Brits," you know. And I thought, this is what it's all about, you know. So I mean, I suppose that brings a smile on your face because Putin now apparently gone into hiding. So Russia basically fucked itself, and China. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, everybody's got to stop buying Chinese goods. I mean, no matter what way you go, oh, it's more expensive. Well, I mean, what do you want to? Do you want to support the Chinese Communist Party, or do you want to have a world where we're all free and easy, or don't you mind the Chinese killing all these millions of Rohingyas?
That's a difficult task, though, isn't it, Mike?
Why?
Because you look around you, everything you pick up, everything you wear,
I agree with you.
all made in China.
Yeah, but honestly, Spearfry, everybody, this can all be manufactured in this and it costs more money. That's all it comes down. We want it cheap, you know. So when you buy a Chinese T-shirt, 4 washes, it's fucked, right? You buy one from Marks and Spencer's, it's going to last you for a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's still made in China.
No, made in Thailand, actually, darling. You know, it's much nicer.
But
I mean, it's
Thai slave labor is a bit different, isn't it?
What's wrong with buying British goods? You know, British cars. I mean, there aren't any. You know,
well, there's quite a few in this part of our price range.
Minis, Rolls Royces are made here, Bentleys are made here. I mean, the finest cars in the world are made in England. Aston Martin. You know, well, we can argue that, but
McLaren,
the best cars in the world, of the prestigious cars, are made in this country because our craftsmen are just about as good as it gets. And why can't we have factories like China producing stuff that they produce? I mean, they pay their people nothing. So what we're doing, we are encouraging them to pay people nothing to produce the goods we want because we want it cheap. How can it be that you can buy a phone, this phone, right? This iPhone, whatever it is, and they're made abroad. Okay, why can't they be made here and assembled here?
Have you seen how they build them things?
Yeah.
I can't see that kind of work ethic ever going down here.
It's because our work, the way we work, and under the situation, under the union rules and the legislation, and everything else, it's different to a lot of the countries. Europe has shackled itself to regulation and red tape. Yeah. It's made everything so fucking expensive that we can't afford to make it here. And the Chinese are just going, money, and we're just shoving money in there left, right, and centre because we want to buy a T-shirt for £2 rather than pay 30 quid that you'd have to pay in this country, you know, the quality, well, whatever it is. So why is it we can't make T-shirts here? Why we can, but we don't because we can't compete with them because nobody buys them, too expensive. But they don't mind going and buying a Philip Plein, which are £130, £180 each T-shirt because it's got Philip Plein on the front and it's got a strange motif. And they're made abroad, okay? So they're 130 quid each. So we're required to play those because the designer, but the designer's paying cheap, but he's put his name on it like Armani or Fendi or Gucci, and they're made in Italy, okay, which is fine. But I mean, because they put their name on it, you can charge what you like. If I put this was made by Alan Merrick, you know, or Mike Reynolds, or you know, or Spear Thrower, you know, if this was made by that, nobody want to buy it. They wouldn't think it was getting any quality, regardless of how much effort and time we put into it. It won't make any difference because, as far as they're concerned, it's not cheap enough. So we want it cheap, okay? But let me put this: I mean, cheap or not, if you were starving, would you buy a tin of fucking English pilchards rather because you couldn't get? Yes, you would. Of course, you would. It's bullshit. Yeah. We are destroying our own. The Western civilization is killing itself, is strangling itself because it wants everything cheap, just like America does.
Yep.
I mean, there is absolutely no way on the planet that we should be feeding the Chinese the amount of money we do. But to allow these people, the Chinese, to try to dictate the world. They're building these islands in the South China Sea, which are now heavily fortified because they're going to, as we know, they're going to invade Taiwan. It's a dot on the cards it's going to happen. And the only reason they want to do it is because, well, all the microchips are made. The best chips in the world, the best microchips are made in Taiwan. If Chinese get there, we are totally fucked, you know, because they will just say, we're not going to sell you this unless we charge you that much instead of this much. I mean, that's what's going to happen. The Chinese eventually will end up being the most powerful country in the world because you've got an arsehole like Biden who's in the White House doing what? What is that man doing?
I think China taking Taiwan is a given. It's going to happen at some point.
Well, we've got Royal Navy, we've got Royal Navy out there. I mean, everybody laughs at the old Royal Navy. Oh, we've got so few boats. One boat, HMS Duncan, I think, has got enough more firepower than the whole of what we launched in the Second World War. It's such a powerful destroyer. I mean, we got the two best aircraft carriers in the world. HMS, the Prince of Wales and Queen Elizabeth are the two, and the American, when Queen Elizabeth was launched and the Americans went on board and they came across from, I think it was the Abraham Lincoln or whatever, which are nuclear-powered submarine, nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. They came on board and they said, what do you think of this place? He said, this is a game changer. This boat has a crew of 700. Our ships have a crew of 5,000. But our aircraft carriers are more powerful and withstand more punishment because of the way they've been built and designed and the way they're defended. We've got the most advanced technology in the planet when it comes to, arguably, when it comes to defending a ship. And I mean, they put a wall of lead. I mean, they've got these hypersonic missiles that the Russians both have, but they can detect them, they can see them launch, and they may be there in minutes. But you put out a wall of lead, which is the Gatling guns, nothing gets through those. Nothing gets through those. And it's as simple as that. So basically, as far as for me and like for everybody else, we really have to stop buying Chinese regardless. I mean, I urge you all. I mean, I don't buy fucking Chinese. I wouldn't buy Chinese now for a bet. I don't even go with Chinese takeaway, and these Chinese people up there are sweethearts, But it really annoys me that we are selling our souls to buy a cheap T-shirt, to buy a cheap set of screwdrivers, to buy anything you want. The Chinese will produce a fraction of the cost. Is that what we want? Is that the world we want? Governed by the Chinese?
I've got to put my hand up, Mikey, and turn around and say I got stung by the Chinese.
You're what?
I got stung by the Chinese. I ordered some. Yeah, the electric goods. Should I show you what they sent me? Bastards.
Go on then. Wise away. Should I do some impressions? Or what do you want me? Spit chucker, what should I do? Do you want me to do some impressions or something?
Impressions?
Yeah. I could do Pinky and Perky nude. What do you think? That's pretty good, do you think?
Yeah.
I can do an impression of various people, but I don't have the right accoutrement with me. Talking of accoutrement, here's Alan.
Oh man, I went to buy something and I think they thought I was going to die now. But I've got this little box turn up, right? And I don't know if you can see it. It's like a fucking spoon in it and some chopsticks.
What's that? Where'd you get that from?
Fucking time. Well, I don't know what it was. A fucking spoon. Look, hang on. There's a fucking spoon there. Look.
Is it wood? Is it wooden?
Well, it's. I think it's more plastic than it's fucking wood.
Yeah.
And
plastic.
Then, yeah, look.
So why are you showing? Are they chucking? They look like knitting needles. Why are you showing us this? What you making?
Well, it's like you're saying you buy stuff from China and you don't fucking get what you want anyway. You know what I mean? So you get a lot of these. Sometimes you're on Facebook or somewhere like that, and you get a lot of these adverts coming. And oh, fucking, that's a good bargain. That is. You send away for it, and then I'll get back a letter like a package, like a jiffy bag, like a plastic bag, and. I opened it and I thought, what the fuck's this? And I'm looking at the writing on it, and it's from Hong Kong Fooey type of. I don't know. You couldn't even make out the address. and it's got Japanese writing on all over it and that. And I thought, oh, hello. And I thought, what have I got here then? And when I opened it and I found that inside it, I thought to myself, bleed now, I've got the chop.
What was supposed to be in it?
I think it was
What did you buy?
what it was for what I bought is like you can get a double screen that goes on the back of your computer and you slide it out, right? And it was an electronics company, and I was quite surprised that electronics company sending me something like that. So it's just a big scam. So they probably open little shops.
I think they probably knew that you like a bit of chow mein.
Yeah, I do like the chow mein.
Yeah, a bit of chow mein, a bit of egg foo young or something. You know?
Yeah, you might be right there.
But there is nothing better than pie and mash.
No,
anybody. We have this every week. We have a 5-minute conversation about pie and mash. Where is the best pie and mash shop on the planet? I suggest it's in Deptford High Street in South London. So people say it's Dalston. Some people say it's Armits in Westmoreland Road. It's SE17. That's Forward. SE London. SE17. Some people say it's Cookie. Some people. So
Menzies is not really, isn't it?
I don't know how many people are watching this. But I mean, but as far as for me, the best.
Menzies is where we went, Mikey.
Deptford High Street. Sorry.
Yeah, that's where we
I
went.
go back to the 1950s. You know, when my mum used to go shopping. You know, and my mum was one of those women that walked from top of Deptford High Street because she was born just off Deptford High Street in Albury Street, and she lived in Nelson's old house because they moved there because she used to live actually over the pie and mash shop in Greenwich, and in 1936, and they moved back to Albury Street in just before the Second World War in about 1938, and but my mum, you know, it's anyway. I mean, I'm not going to go about pie and mash because I'm getting hungry now. Anyway, you're supposed to be coming down, Alan.
I know. I was going to go down today, but it's a little bit awkward with Kathy in the care room. I cannot go and see her.
No, of course not. But what,
You know,
once you
my
decide
little
what you want to do,
priorities to look after my wife and go and see my wife.
of course,
And I went to see her today, and I was with her for an hour and about an hour and 15 minutes, and for an hour of it, she slept. So I was watching her catching flies for an hour, but I mean, I sat there on my phone just twiggling to see if she'd wake up, but she's just snoring at me.
she was pretending to be asleep because you were there.
Whether it was she was not comfortable with me being there and she could feel at ease and went to sleep, I don't know. But at the end of the day, you know, you've got to. Well, when she woke up, every time she woke up, I was there, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know how to what to say. You know, I don't know how to explain it. You know, at the end of the day, she's not nice, beautiful woman, good woman, never done nothing wrong in her life, and
Yeah,
life's hard.
yeah, tragedy. It is a tragedy. It really is. What's happened today? It goes like the Invisible Man. It keeps coming and going.
I know he keeps coming in, but he's in. Well, I had to mute myself a little while ago when you was having a good chat, and it's just as well you was actually, because I had a really bad hailstone. I thought they were going to come through the bleeding roof. I kept looking up at the roof,
Really?
thinking the bloody things were going to come through. They were like golf balls hitting the roof.
It
I
snowed
got
here
to
this
that
morning.
last night.
Did you?
It snowed here this
Yeah.
morning. Yeah, a little bit of snow.
Yeah, well, I woke up to a little bit of white on the grass this morning. And it's strange, like the other day, I was in a t-shirt
Yeah, lovely,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
and I was
Last
cutting
week.
the grass.
That's England for it. That's England at its best. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it could be snowing, raining, and sunny all at the same time in England, all within a square mile.
Well, we've had some CMEs recently, which I think they were due around now. Do you know what I mean by CME? Coronal mass ejection.
Oh,
Edward Goldstooth is in YouTube and says, ask your energy supplier for a copy of the agreement. You have one with them. So
I can't see the chat room on my screen. That's why I can't.
it's on mine. We're on YouTube in there. I can't see the wake up chat because I don't know what's happened with the wake up chat because the last couple of times I tried to get on the wake up chat.
I can never get on it. I can't see what anybody's saying, so I apologise. All I can see is what comes on the tick at the bottom.
Yeah, we're just saying here. This is the Kerry Ann's in there, Cameron, Carmen, Mom Media, Mogul, Edward, Goldtooth, just adding bits and pieces in the chat. And I read one of them just a minute ago. but I've been looking at across the chat and looking at you and watching both. But yeah, and there's one that's been put up there that gas and electric are part of creation. Should we pay for the creation?
He's right. He's right.
In Wake Up Chat, we've got Andre, we've got Botherwicks, Joe Mitchell, Linda Hardy, Roy, Sonia.
How many people? Are there a lot of people in the chat room?
A few. Joe says he likes a good traditional English curry.
Nothing. See now. Now you see talking my language. And who doesn't like a ruby? Everybody loves. Well, mostly, unless you've got a weak bottom. But which is and of course you could end up with a weak bottom in some places we've been to. But invariably, I think when I was young, it's
long time ago, Mike.
Yeah, it's a long time. We're talking about 50 years ago. Probably just about 52. I was about 17, 16. So we always used to go out after Friday. We had about 5 curry places.
Yeah.
Whenever we went there, we were sitting in the door because we never paid. We used to run out. And we went into one night, and the guy came. He come in. He said, "I know." Oh, he went. And he said, "I know you are. No, you're not run out today." So no, we've never been here before. He said, "No." He said, "No, I know you are." He's going down this. Anyway, so sitting there.
We went to the stage day where we did curry. Curry was normally Friday night.
Oh yeah, but all this food came up, got plates full of food, and I was with 5 friends, and they all sat there. Anyway, and I said, "You ready?" I went, "Yeah, ready." They'll run out, and I just sat there. So he said, "Go." He said, He said, "I got the bill." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to pay for what I've had." He said, what about all the other 5? I said, "I'll give you their names and addresses," and I did. I bubbled them. He went round all their houses, knocked on the door, said, "Why you want me some money?" And I wasn't popular for a long time after that, but it was a funny thing. They got it in the end, but it was So I gave them all away. Running out, not paying was always a thing we did. I think that's what you did when you were kids, isn't it? It's like what you do. I mean, we talk about as youngsters, but I mean, youngsters now don't have the fun we had. I don't think they.
Well, we used to go out from every Friday night. Every Friday night was more or less curry night. So we all go down the cut in Streatham just off Streatham Road.
Oh,
an Indian down there, right good Indian, really blinding Indian. And we used to go there every Friday night after a recession in the pub. And I remember that's where I met Kath, and I said to one night, so I said, should we go to the Indian after or should I get a takeout or whatever? She said, "No, get a takeout." And the landlord, we knew him, was a bit of an arsehole, but and he turned around and said, "Oh, you going down to curry?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you get me hot curry?" I said, "What curry?" I said, "Well, what do you want it?" And I thought, "I'm going to get this bastard back for giving me all these fucking slops for over the years." Because he used to be terrible for fucking having these glasses under the counter and they're all fucking slops, right? And or he waited for him to go fucking down, or he poured the beer and it was all frothy. Just got glasses in a row. And you would end up fucking the shits next day.
Oh, well, that was the mild, wasn't it? Called mild, because all the slops used to go into a drain through a filter, and a couple of filters, and then went into a barrel, and that was mild. And it was like, was it light and mild or something, or mild and bitter or something? I mean, it was the most disgusting. I mean, people who drink bitter. I mean, they are
on anything. If you change the barrels on the lager, you do the same. Because I do a few frothy bot lines and they let them settle.
I've got a friend of mine, Francis, he's in Malta. He's in Malta, and when I go out with him, I go out quite regularly, and I say we go into some club or into a bar somewhere in London, and I'll go. I say, what are we gonna have? And he went, "Oh, I'll have." And he'll go, and there might be 10 beers. He says, "Can I have a taster?" And they give it, and he sits there, and he's got nearly a pint of beer. He's hard to buy. I say to be honest, he's taking the piss out of you. I said, because he's getting pissed on you for nothing. And they go, no, he'll have a pint. And he goes, "Oh, I'm not really keen on any of that." And so he's able to give me half of that. And he's already drunk more or less a pint and everything else because they're tasters. But it's me sitting there having does anybody like Vesper Martinis? Does anybody in the chat room love Vesper Martini? Because a Vesper Martini is what James Bond was drinking. Yeah. But I've got into this stuff. They're 25 quid each in London. 25 fucking quid. I nearly died. so I said, oh, Vesper Martini. And what it is, it's Grey Goose vodka, Tanqueray 10 export, plus all the gummies and bits and bobs. And I've got to tell you, it is probably the most fabulous martini I've ever drunk in my whole life. But you don't have to pay for them. But they are absolutely brilliant.
Anyway, let me finish off my curry thing, what I was saying to you about. So I went, he said, get takeaway. So, and he said, get me hot curry. So I said, all right, then what do you want? He said, just get me hot curry. A Vindaloo was I said, fucking Vindaloo. I said, Vindaloo's fucking hot. And he said, yeah, I like a hot curry. I said, you sure? So I thought, I'll get you back, you bastard, for all the years you've been giving me fucking slops. Because one night I walked in a boozer and he gave me a pint of lager in about 2 seconds. So he must have had half of it fucking filled, and he went bosh like that, and he gave me the pint. I thought, fuck me, that was quick. And anyway, so I went down there and I said to him, can I have one chicken masala, one vegetable, blah, blah, blah. And can I have the hottest curry you got? He said, well, which one do you want? I said, well, what do you do? He said, we do a Vindaloo, and we do an extra hot Vindaloo or whatever it was. Really fucking hot. And I said, does it burn your bollocks off? And he said, oh, yes. So I said, I'll have that one, please. So I fucking got it, right? And there was this fucking kitchen table, right? They used to sit on when Kathy used to make up all the meals in the kitchen, and she was doing all the food and that. So he said, "You bastard," and he seen me the next day when in the pub. He said, "I had one fucking spoonful of that. It fucking burnt my gob to fuck." He said, "I put the spoon down on the table." He said, "There's a stain on the table now. I can't fucking get rid of it."
Yeah, we've all been
He
there.
burnt the fucking table, let alone his guts.
Yeah,
He said to me, "You wanted hot curry?" I said, "Come on, what is your fucking?" I said, "You said you wanted a really hot curry."
I like Vindaloo, but I wouldn't have far. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean,
do you know what I like? Do you know what I like? I tried something one day because like you can have lamb rigoche, chicken tikka masala, and whatever. You can have prawn masala, whatever it is, or king prawn masala. So what I said to him, I said, "Can you do me a combination masala?" He said, "I said, well, a couple of bits of king prawn, a couple of bits of lamb, and some chicken, like a combination masala, a mixed combination." And I fucking, it's lovely. I love it. I have it every time I go now. I have a combination masala where I get some king prawns. It gives me 3 king prawns, 3 bits of lamb, and 3 bits of chicken with my masala sauce with Peshwari naan with rice.
The menu.
I have the poppadoms as well, but
the masala's too sweet for me. It's much too sweet.
Well, I'll get the mixed one. So the mixed one. So anybody out there has never ever tried a combination masala.
Yeah, but chicken tikka masala is made for the British market.
Well, from the Raj, it still stems from the Raj.
That's what curry was for, to preserve meat, to stop it going rotten.
Yeah.
So they used to curry it all up, put spice on it.
And the British soldiers on the Raj, they cooked them up like meals and that, and they put a bit of curry in that with it, and they fucking loved it. And look how it is now.
They did a survey.
If you like lamb mash, what?
They did a survey a few years back. And they did hundreds of Indian restaurants across the country, and to find out the ingredients for chicken tikka masala, and found that across the whole country, the only common ingredient was chicken. So it all depends where you go and what you put in it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some put coconut in it, some don't. Some put coriander in it, some don't.
Yeah.
But across the whole country, for a chicken tikka masala, the only common ingredient is chicken. So it's not like you can say, "Oh, we'll get this kind of curry," because wherever you get it.
Do you know where they reckon one of the best curry places is, Spear?
Hey?
Do you know where they reckon one of the best curry places is?
India.
No, he's in this country, Bradford.
Yeah, it is. I went there. Oh, well, that's a long story anyway. But there are some good Indian restaurants. We got one of the best ones in Kent, where I live. They would tell you that, and the Rajmoni up in where he is. It was voted best Indian restaurant.
What's it called?
In Kent. It's called the Rajmoni, and it was voted a couple of years ago the best Indian restaurant in Kent. Eh?
Right, we got one here called Rajmo.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of them about. It's like the Bengal Lance, isn't it?
Yeah. That's exactly what we got here, Rajmo, and it's the best one.
It's but then again, curry's curry. It's like we all got our favourite curry places, and I think the base is where you feel comfortable. I think
it's great for the English palate though nowadays, isn't it?
Well, that's what the trouble is, Alan. I mean, we all go to an Indian restaurant. I like going to different ones, but in Bradford, I think I've told you this story before, but I was in Leeds, and with a couple of my friends, who weren't particularly nice people. They're sweethearts, but you don't upset them. And we were in Leeds, and we came out. We got in a cab, and the Pucky in Leeds and Bradford, unless you're Pakistani, you can't get a job as a cab driver. Well, it seemed to me anyway. And this guy said, "Why do you want to?" He said, "We're going to Bradford." He said, "Oh, it's a bit of a way." He said, money's not the problem. We just want to get there, And we're going to this really, I can't remember the name, but it's restaurant. And this guy said, "You've got to go. The food here is just unbelievable." He said, "You've got to go. They're just unbelievable food." And anyway, so the cab driver starts saying this, "Why are you going to Bradford?" He said, "We're going to this restaurant. It's really fabulous food, and we're looking forward to it." The guy's going, "Well, he said, well, really, Bradford's not for you. It's for us Pakistan. It's only for Pakistani people. Only Pakistani people live in Bradford." My mate's going, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There's no such thing. You're not Pakistani. You're living in England. This is Britain." He said, "Forget your race." He said, "You want to live in this country, you've got to adapt to the way we are. So you've got to become British. You've got to adopt our laws. If you're under British law now, not the Sharia law. This is Britain." And this guy starts going, "Well, we don't want you white trash in Bradford. We're sick to death of you." And all this started giving it to us. My mate's going, I said, "Tell you what, mate," he said, pull over. He said, "Pull over." He said, "Obviously," he said, "we're not going to get on here." And we're only about 5 miles to go. So anyway, we jumped out of the cab, and mate walked around the thing, put the window down. He got his money out. He said, "How much day, mate?" So he said, "I did a few money." And my mate got his foot on, smacked him one. Must have broke his jaw, because his jaw was over like that. Knocked him stark out. My mate chucked a few quid in there, told him, kick the side of the car and walked away. But that's what you get, That was what he got. He was racially abusing us. And we were there. We weren't there to be racial. We were there to go. And we ended up this restaurant, fabulous restaurant. And we didn't see this guy turn up there with all his mates. Good job he didn't, because they probably would have shot him. They really would have done as well. But, but these guys, you don't...
Fancy saying that to English people. We don't want English people around here.
English people, we said. Bradford's not really English. Bradford's not English.
When they're in an English country.
Yeah, Bradford's Pakistan. Bradford's Pakistanis. We only want Pakistani people in Bradford and all that. And I thought, no, you don't. What is wrong with you? This is not what this. They'll flee their countries. They'll flee their countries to come here, and when they get here, they want to turn it into the countries they fled from. They want to go back under the same laws that they were fighting against. I mean, a lot of Pakistani, some of the girls, the guys I know, they're not Pakistanis. They might support Pakistan in cricket, but having said that, they are westernized. They don't follow the same dictates. It's only the parents and the mullahs.
It might be wrong to turn around and say this, but I actually think myself that I think when it comes down to racism, I think we're in a minority now. Because I think most others are more racist towards white people than the other way around. So people play this race card, and I think it's all wrong.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we are now the white supremacists. We are the people, and then we get a woman on giving it large about white people this, white people that, and somebody turned around and said to her, "Well, okay, let's give you a few facts." He said, how many white kids go to university?" She went, "Well, it must be quite a lot." He said, 33%. He said, "How many black children get to university?" She went, "Oh," it's because she's black. He went, 37%. He said, "How many people of India get to university?" He went, 62%. "And how many Chinese get there?" He said, 70%. He said, "So how are we privileged? How are we as a white race privileged when every other race ever, Chinese, there's 3 races, the Chinese, the Indians, and the blacks, are all in front of us when it comes to getting to university? How are we white supremacists? Why is it that this country is castigated as a country that's full of white people who have done the most heinous things. When in fact two of the celebrities two black celebrities were talking about who sit there spouting off about loose women, even saying about white supremacists, and then when they look in their background, they find out that they're the people who were there around in the 18th century, their family, their descendants, all owned slaves, and they're black. They're all those slaves. What the black people forget is it's the black people that captured the black people and sold them.
Yeah.
They forget that this country, they still forget that this country was the first country in 1790, whatever it was, to ban slavery. And it was the Royal Navy that stopped a lot of the slave ships leaving Africa by fighting them up and down the coast of Africa. That's what the Royal Navy did. And we, as the British, are castigated as being the guys who treated the people and these blacks awfully. But at the time, it wasn't illegal. It's no different.
People don't realise that the blacks were the worst.
Of course they were.
Slave traders in the world. They were the worst.
This country
started it all off. They sold their own.
This country bought every slave in America, paid for every slave, make them all free, right? Whether they were made free or not, we only just finished that debt off some years ago.
Yeah,
it's the most. I'm disgusted that nobody's staying. Get a few people like Nigel Farage staying up and say whatever, but it's only when we sit and talk like this and people sit and listen that they start to understand that this country is not a racist country. There are racists in it. There are racists in India, and the Indians themselves are the worst of the worst. They're the biggest snobs. They treat these low caste people appallingly, absolutely appallingly. You're right.
Yeah, no, I was watching because the lights come on outside. I was looking. There's a black cat in there. I was going to send Arthur out after it, for supper.
It's probably Dave. He's left. He's probably come up your house.
Yeah. He can't get internet signal.
Can't get signal very well.
But I drive and come up here.
Why is it?
Let me say this about tomorrow night, Mikey. I'm doing a show tomorrow night with Dave on Facebook, 8 o'clock live tomorrow night. And that's about the gang culture in London and about all the gangs. There's a film out called Blue Boy. It's on Netflix. And it's a bit hard to understand because of the broken Jamaican. And so, and it's based on a very, very true story. And the other day, I think there was a 14-year-old stabbed in London. A girl. It was a girl was stabbed, and I think she was. I'm sure she was killed. A 14-year-old girl. And the gang culture in London, where you've got all these different gangs from. And we're going to cover a lot of the London estates where you've got a lot of these concrete jungles. We call them concrete jungles. If you know as well as I do, what some of them South London councils. Well, they're all over the place. They're all over.
I lived in one. I lived on the A-gate.
Well, you only have to look at Elton's, West End,
the Aylesbury estate,
Camberwell.
Not the Aylesbury, North Peckham. They're terrible. Even now, they're still terrible.
Well, that Blue Boys is based on Peckham.
One left. I think it's only the Aylesbury left. They knocked down the A-gate. The A-gate's gone. I think it's the North Peckham. I can't remember if it's North Peckham or the Aylesbury. That's gone, but the other is due to go too. But I mean, they're disgusting. I mean, when I was young, we used to live in I was born in Childers Street in Deptford, and in Childers, and that's where my nan lived, and it was lovely. Lots of lovely little streets where people knew everybody. It was a community spirit, and everybody was nice. And then they decided in their wisdom, we can't have this. We'll flatten it all and put flats there. And they filled it up with immigrants. That's what they turned it into a ghetto. And what happened is it was the best. It was like a chemist. You could go and buy any drug. You could buy your dope, speed, anything you wanted down there. If that's what you wanted, that's what you did. And it became a no-go area. Because unless you remove people like I did, you can get in there.
5 minutes. Watch that North Peckham thing. What's it called? Blue Boy. And it's about I think he's put it in there. Carmen's put in North Peckham Estate. It is that one? Yeah. And it's based on a true story.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dave, I grew up with it. I mean, I was alive before they were all built. Dave grew up with it. Dave come from Peckham. He knows all about it too. So he'll tell you the same as I do. If they were no-go areas, they weren't pleasant places to live. They certainly weren't pleasant to grow up in. And and kids were just driven into gangs because there's nothing else. And that's what's happening now. They are given no chance. And
my brother lived in Camberwell, and he lived there, and he lived next to a black guy. And my brother weren't racist because we were brought up with blacks and all creeds in the kids' homes and in Beach Home for all our lives. We were brought up, and it weren't their fault or our fault that we were there in the first place. So there was no race on any of us. There was no bias between us. We wore the same clothes, we ate the same tables, we slept in the same dormitories, and they gave you the same clothes with labels in, and he was classed as an orphan, end of. But he lived next to a guy in Camberwell, and 15 years he lived next to this black guy in Camberwell, and they never spoke once. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can. I mean, in the Elephant, and just down from the Elephant going towards Lambeth, there was Doddington Grove. And that was there was a big gang of white guys there. You probably know there was a big gang of there was a gang of white guys, and that was a real. I mean, I remember I had a girlfriend there, and you took your life in your hands getting in and out of there because they knew you were. They knew who I was, and because I knew people we'd had sort of my recursions with. So so you kept away from there because you weren't fucking stupid unless you could run fast. And care, and I couldn't run quite quick because I learned to. But sometimes you can't run that fast, and sometimes you have to stay and hold your ground. Unfortunately, if you come to it, you've got to hold your hands up because once you slap one, they'll think twice about giving you another one. But then again, there's about 4 or 5 of them. You ain't got to get a kicking anyway. But they never going to stab you. They're just going to give you a slap. Give you a bit of a kicking. And that's it, and tell you to fuck off. But I mean, nowadays they just stab you because they got any bollocks. They won't stand up and fight you. They just want to stab you because they think they're tough. Our show's fucking tough. And not so many. It was a year or so ago, and Blackfriars. I got on the bus. I was all dressed up, the hat, the coat, the whole thing, and I got on the bus pissed, rotten. I got on the bus and I was like, fucking, I've got in the wrong place. And it was Blackfriars, and it was the wrong side of Blackfriars. And as I got off, there was 3 kids, only about 14, 15, whatever it is. Whatever. And the guy comes out, he's got a knife in his hand. Give me your money. I went, do what? He said, give me your money. I just got hold of his wrist and fucking slapped him. Banged his fucking, I must have really hurt him. He dropped the knife, and I got hold of him. I was fucking giving him that, And they ran away. And I went, you fucking bunch of wankers. But that was a stupid thing to do. If I was pissed, I'd have said, what do you mean, fucking mate? I don't carry money. I've got to carry credit cards. Fuck off. Give me a watch. What? Why you can't tell the time because you're thick? What do you need a watch for? I'll say get a fiver for it and buy a little line of Coke, please.
I was talking about this. Funny, this friend you was talking about this the other night. As I said, like I got stabbed in the neck here, and I was so lucky that it didn't catch my jugular vein. And the doctor turned around and said, well, "You are very, very lucky, young man." I
got shot in the leg.
And I've had beer glasses screwed into my head and all that, and the guitars, iron bars, you fucking name it. That was
I got shot in the leg. They weren't aiming at me. They just fired a shotgun, and I got a couple of pellets in the leg.
Well, that was a long time ago. Mitcham, where Mitcham Market is on the square there, on the green there, which is past the green there. There was gunfights in broad daylights with Jamaican drug dealers having broad daylight gunfights, people ducking underneath the bloody market stores.
Absolutely. And what the police do? Nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
The first gunfight I ever saw was in Marseille. And what's really weird, if you've ever been a serious gunfight, it feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah.
It felt like I was there. I'd been there all day, and it was over in seconds. And I was looking around, and a French guy sort of pulled me down like this. He said, "Oh, you're stupid English, He said, you must keep down." And I'm sort of behind this little, I was in a doorway of a shop, and I was on the corner like this, the corner around there, and you had this machine gun, bang, 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 machine gun fire, and I want to know what's going on, stupidly. So I'm trying to, he's pulled me down, it's all his windows broken, and then it goes all quiet. And the bullet doesn't go make a goes like this as it goes past you. I'm not going to whisper and then glass smashing, and then all of a sudden, and then it stopped. So we all got up, walked around the corner. There's all chairs up, a couple of chairs on the floor. There was some broken glass, and that was it. There was no bodies. Nobody got shot. It was just an exchange of gunfire, and that's the first time. And then the next time was in Greece. on one of the islands. With a friend of mine, we went back, and the Russians were there, and they went there and they were shooting each other. They were having a gunfight, you know, and you know, we just sat, I was looking over us above it, and I could see what was going on. About 20 guys shooting each other, and the police. And we said, "Well, where's the police?" And the police have been paid off to keep away.
Yeah.
You
look at the gangs in London now. I mean, years ago, you used to have your Italians and your Greeks and your Turks and all that, and you used to have kind of like tribal wars or gang wars with that kind of thing, and your Chinese as well, because you had your Chinese mobs, your Greeks, your Turks, your Italians. But now you've got your Somalis, you've got your Africans, you've got Christ knows what now. It is even Russians. They're all at it.
The thing is, Alan, most of the gangs, most of the clever guys, most of the gangs you never see.
Yeah.
You know, the gangs that we talk about, which make headlines, are usually black guys. It's mostly blacks stabbing each other. And they're not killing white people, they're killing each other. Just as they do in America, they do all around the world. It's black on black, and they're just killing each other left, right, and left. And it doesn't matter if they're black or a girl or boy. It doesn't matter. Or sorry, if they're born not of a distinguishing marks, you know, or you know, because you know we all know we're all the same. But basically, some got lady lumps and some haven't. Some got little bits down there and some haven't. But we can't call them Miss or Mrs. or Mr. or Sir or anything like that. We're all one of the others. And so
you were talking a little while ago, Mike. You talked a little while about designer labels. A lot of these gangs, they either wear the colours or designer labels.
Yeah. Where they get the money from? It's all drugs, drug money, and stupidity. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, if you want real gang culture, I mean, you go back to the 50s and the 60s. I can remember about like Jack Spot, you know, and Albert Dimes, all these people in the late 40s and 50s, and it comes up to the Krays, the Messina brothers, the Krays, and the Richardsons, and you know, and Frankie Fraser, and Freddie Foreman, and who I met once or twice because you know, I was some people that knew him, and his son Jamie is a lovely guy, lovely guy, good actor, Jamie Foreman. I met him once or twice as well because they go around. But you know, he's not a gangster, you know, but lovely people. But they're really nice people. I mean, they are. They don't want any trouble. They don't trouble. They do what they do, but they don't want trouble. You know, if we give them trouble, they'll give it back to you big time. But they're not violent people, but just because they walk around beating people up. They don't do that. Frankie Fraser was a sweet. You saw Frankie Fraser in the street. You go, "Hi, Frankie, how you doing, mate?" You go, "Hello, mate, how you doing? Nice to see you."
Jesus Jones has just put in the Krays were Jewish, and then Maya just put in. We've got 36,000 in England homeless, one of the highest. And when you think about this, what I was saying the other day about, you know, Ukraine isn't what people make it out to be. Let's get. Me and Spear were talking about this. The Ukrainians aren't squeaky clean, and at the end of the show with Delroy Charles the other night, I turned around and said, "Where do you think all the neo-Nazis went when they left Germany? When they left the motherland? When they left the motherland, where did they go?
Ukraine.
Exactly.
It's got a massive, big Nazi population. But, and I think we had this last week. For me, it doesn't matter what they are and what they. Russia invaded a sovereign country. That's it, and that's something you don't do. Doesn't matter. I mean, you invade a country for whatever reason, but Ukraine and Russia, it's the same fucking thing. You know, they are all basically Russians. You know, just like you know, they just call them different names. It's just like the Israeli Jews and the Arabs. If you look at them, a lot of them have got very similar characteristics, very facially, same skin coloring, you know, and same hair, you know, but it's been diluted. They're Jews and they're Arabs, but basically they're both from the Middle East.
It's really weird you should say that, because I was watching one of these clips off, I think it was BitChute. Because BitChute, you get a lot of good information off there, Mike. A lot of it is true compared to our mainstream media, where you can watch even CNN. I've been watching a lot of CNN.
Oh,
God. But I watched a clip from BitChute the other day, and BitChute's pretty good. So anybody out there doesn't know anything about BitChute, just have a look at BitChute. And there was the Ukrainian soldiers turning around and saying, after what had happened, or there was an incident, or there was some burnt out, or they come under fire, or some burnt out tanks and so on, because they attacked these tanks and they came under heavy fire. He said, I fucking swear I'll never speak Russian again. And like you said, basically, they were all Russian.
Yeah. No. I mean, but then again, you get them. Then basically what's going to happen now is there's going to be the recrimination. Who's going to pay to put it all right? Now, if I was a young man now, and a craftsman, plumber, bricklayer, plasterer, chippy, you got a job now for the rest of your life in Ukraine, rebuilding it. You're going to make a shed load of money. You get a bunch of guys going out there saying, we want to work on a bit. You're going to make gazillion quid, because they're going to need people out there to rebuild it all. And they're not going to do it on their own, and they're not going to have the money. You know,
but what do you believe in your mind?
What do it?
That's just like Iraq, isn't it? When the States went into Iraq, they leveled the place because they don't give a shit, and then they earned millions of dollars in construction contracts.
Well, there you go. Americans made a fool. So did we. But it goes back to that goes right back to even the First World War and the Second one, the Marshall Plan after the Second World War. Yeah. When America and this country, we were bankrupt, and we were putting all this money and everything into rebuilding Germany. And the reason we rebuilt Germany, like the Americans did, is they knew, and we know, and everybody else knows, you need a strong Germany. You have to. That's the center of European, or was the center of European industry and finance. And of course, over the course of the last years, slip by bit by bit by bit, Germany has just chiseled it away. It's become limp-wristed and ineffectual. And it's not the Germans that were in the 22nd or the 2nd Panzer, SS Panzer Division, going up through and doing, or Das Reich, who went up through in 1944, went up and killed everybody and did these the most appalling things. That's what Germany used to do. Now, because of what happened in those days, they become terrified of being cascaded as Nazis. Well, basically, the Germans aren't Nazis. And it was just the Nazi party. They just went along because if you didn't, you got fucking put against the wall, shot or put in a concentration camp. But the German people themselves are lovely people. I'm part German, and the German people are lovely. They should be given carte blanche to go back to be what they should be, which is a strong, powerful nation again, frightened of fucking no one. But they are, because they're still living that nightmare of the 1930s and 40s.
What do you say, Spear?
I think. And most of us have got probably a lot of the indigenous from these isles have got a lot of Germanic DNA.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
we've got a lot in common with Germans.
Well, looking at your picture, you're probably an alien.
An illegal alien. An illegal alien.
Let's be honest, it's not the prettiest sight, is it? I mean, what does Mrs. Spearfast wake up when she sees that one eye of yours looking? We're speaking about the one between your eye on your head days.
He's going into business with Specsavers, doing a bit of the advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, But I mean, it's true to say that. So I mean, you've got in Europe now is a bunch of limp-wristed, useless articles who haven't got a clue. You've got people like Macron, the French. Look at the French. The French. They're not interested.
Went to the same school, didn't they, Mike?
Sorry.
Klaus Schwab's young leaders. They're all Klaus Schwab's young leaders.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, exactly. So's Putin, Macron, Trudeau. Yeah. They're all part of the World Economic Forum young leaders, isn't it? That's right.
You think we're much better in this country?
No, I don't. But I think we are better. We're better than most of Europe. But we're being diluted.
If you look what people, you can go back in, like, we look at what's happened in the world or in the lifetime of what the guys who are here today have seen and heard and watched and done. And you can go back to the years of most politicians, whoever prime minister is. We've had 25 prime ministers that come out of Eden, right? You go back to the Thatcher years, right, in the 70s, when she literally destroyed the unions. And the unions never really came back from that, right? And look at it today, where you've got someone like P&O sacking 800 staff, and they're paying people £1.81. They're talking about banning them from docking in British ports now, if they don't pay the minimum wage.
They can't. That's unenforceable because ships fly under different flags, and they've got no jurisdiction over them. So I find out how they're going to enforce that. That's very difficult to do, and
they've given port authorities. I'm saying what they will do is put it in the realms of butt passing or somebody else, like they do with everything else. They will turn around and say it's down to the port authorities. The what, Shakespeare?
They'll just disguise it as a big dinghy and they'll get escorted in.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, harbour master would probably say, just come in.
You know how strong our country is.
I was just thinking,
orders.
They've got it all wrong. You know what they should do? They should build galleys, and they should all put all these illegal immigrants should all be chained to the oars, right? And they could row across the channel all chained. Okay, so look at us, we are slaves. Help us, and we'd go, you poor Somali, you poor North African. How much did you pay? I only paid £10,000 to come across here, and then they come in.
Open fire.
Yeah, all they do is come in and hold their hands out. They come here full up with wearing Armani suits, Rolexes. They've got phones, they've got money, and what do? We give them money, we give them another phone, feed them. Why don't they, when they get here, say, right, take your clothes off, put these fucking clothes on, give us your watch, give us all your valuables, because we're going to support you. Whatever you've got, we want to while we support you. Yeah, why is it they should keep what they've got and we have to fucking put our hands in our pockets?
But Michael, when you've got somebody in the chat turning around and saying you've got 36,000 of our own,
I agree with you.
I was watching where there was a Bridlington hotel. It was a beautiful view where they was looking over, and it was taken over by illegal immigrants. And down below, underneath one of the balconies, was this little arched tent where there was a veteran sleeping there under on the outside, a British veteran fought for this country. And he's outside, and they're inside,
and they won't let him in.
No, but that doesn't make sense, does it?
That's right. They won't let him in. No, he can't come in. No, you can't come in. Fuck off. You know, you're fucking your scum. You know. We it's too easy. It's too easy to be an illegal in this country.
But, you know, we've been in so many conflicts in the world. What we've done is ended up paying the consequences of that by not only bombing these places, but rebuilding them or helping them rebuild them. Whatever but we ended up letting them come to this country.
Look at Jamaica. Look what Jamaica's doing. You got William and Kate, bless them, go out there on a tour, and they get slagged off. We're going to tell you to fuck off. Basically, we're going to become republic. Well, fine, become republic, and all the rest, all you fucking Jamaicans now are here. Okay, with a Jamaican passport, fucking now apply for a visa. Because you don't belong here. You're not part of the Commonwealth. You're a republic. You get a visa to stay here or fuck off home again. Because that's basically what it comes. Surely that's what it comes down to. I mean, these people. Black people. My partner's black. She's Jamaican. You know, she was born in Hornsey, but her mum and dad were Jamaican. And you know, she can't. She doesn't tolerate them. I mean, black people were.
I'll beg them to stay, and you know it.
It's what?
Our government will beg them to stay.
Well, there you are. I mean, so basically,
somebody in government stand up. Somebody in government were a pair of bollocks. Dominic Raab is the only politician just recently who's got a pair of nuts. He turned around. They were going to release Connolly for the baby P killer, and going to release him from prison. And he said, "Whoa, no, hang on a minute. Let's have another look at this." And so she's not been released. She's still in prison. And you think about, you know, that child was on the list for the council and had 60 visits. And when he eventually died, had over 50 wounds, 50 injuries to his body.
That's right. No, I've got nothing. They did nothing about it. What about that poor girl who got kidnapped by a scumbag? He's a foreigner. Okay, picked her up, pointed her back. And while she's struggling, she falls out the back at 60 miles an hour. This beautiful girl is now, and they gave him, what they give him? They gave him 7 years. Or was it 7 or less? So and so they appealed it, and now he's got 14 years, but he'll still be out in fucking 7, and she's got a lifetime of misery. That man should be in prison for life. He should never come out of prison. Why should he have a life? Because he's only in his 20s. He'll only be in his 30s when he comes out. He'll still. She's bound in a fucking bed all her life, while this cunt and that swearing is able to run around and do and do what? Do what he's done before. The man is not fit to be on this planet. I would top the lot of them. I would bring back the death penalty anyway. I don't see why we should.
The gallows still standing ish in Wandsworth, so you know the cell's still there where they used to hang them.
Well, I don't see why. I fail to see why we haven't got a death penalty. I mean, why are we allowing all these people to?
Can I just ask Spear something? Spear, are you in the wake up chat?
Yeah.
Did Roy just put something up?
No.
No, I thought I just saw Roy put something up.
Was 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. I'll see something flash up, and I didn't know if it was Roy putting something up, unless he's put something on Facebook. It might have been on Facebook he put it, but I thought it might have been in the wake up chat, because if he'd have put it in, Spear knows how to do it, and he could have probably played what Roy is putting up, because he'd probably been what we've been talking about.
It's just
the thing is about bringing a death penalty back, though, is that it's more likely to be used on people like you and me than it is the criminals.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a well-made point, Spear. It really is, honestly. You know, I despair really of getting any sort of justice in this country. You know, justice.
I mean, look what it takes. No, you can call somebody a name and then end up inside.
That's right. You can call them a name, but they go around and go and shoplift or mug someone. You get slapped on the wrists. I mean, please. I mean, you go to prison for speeding, but if you go and do robbery, you don't.
Yeah.
And it used to be the other way around, because if you stole the Queen's head, or if you stole the sovereign, anything that had the Queen's head on, you got prison. You got burnt for robbery, right, left, and centre. What you did, but it's like nowadays, hurty words seem to be more a criminal thing to people, or in the eyes of most people, hurty words, rather than actual people really getting seriously hurt. And it just doesn't make sense anymore. No, you know, we live in such funny and strange times. You can say certain words, some words that people use, I'm not particularly fond of, and you know, I hate some terms. But at the end of the day, it's used every day now. It's common.
Classic example is Anna Soubry and James Goddard.
Well, yeah, he did, didn't he? James Goddard called her
a Nazi.
Nazi, didn't he?
Something like one, so still got a term for it, didn't he?
I'm surprised. Well, Anna Soubry, of course, was always pissed anyway, so you know what you're going to get.
Well, didn't she make a big thing out of that on every media station that she could get? Little facing, she milked it till I don't know, till the cows came home.
But she's a lush, isn't she? Anna Soubry.
Well, yeah, she's a bit of a pisshead, to be truthful.
Well, like I said,
but they get most of the worst of them all. It's got to be the John Numbnuts, the old speaker, John Bercow. He's got to be the worst politician on the planet. You know, in the last few years. I mean, him and Corbyn, Diane Abbott. I mean, they're disgusting. They're not human beings. They're not.
No, I mean, he was not even a politician, is he? He was a speaker. He's supposed to be.
He's not a lord. He thought he was going to the House of Lords and ended up going to the House of Lords. He's been slung out. He left the Conservative Party. He's been slung out in the Labour Party. What is he now? All he does is sit there spitting his vitriol, you know, slagging everybody off.
He's travelling the world telling his story now, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to nick a few quid. But why is old woman's out shagging everybody?
Did you see? I don't know if you've seen the clip. There's a clip on. I'm just looking before of Billy Connolly getting nicked in London today, and it was kind of like an ambush.
He got nicked. Billy Connolly got nicked.
Yeah.
What for?
The police. I don't know what it was for. The police were all dressed in plain clothes, but they just had orange baseball caps on.
Right.
And they nicked him, but I don't know what it was. And it said there was talk, and I was trying to listen to it. I couldn't hear him make it out very well. they're saying it was for they've been shadowing him or following him, or what's the word that they did with the Mendes case, where they were like watching him for a while, and then suddenly on his protest today they arrested him.
This is who was it?
Billy. It's called. He's part of Storm London, the demo in London today at Waterloo, and they stayed there. They all met up at Waterloo. Angie knew was there. She came down from Liverpool, and Angie was there, and Jane Kelly and a few other people. A few other people that I know there. I was going to go, but with Kathy being where she is, I couldn't. If I don't go and see Kathy, she's going to worry, or I don't want her to worry. You know, I need to. I want to go away for a couple of days just to get me head together, because people don't know how much stressful it's been when you've gone through what we've been through since last October. And I still have banging headaches every day, whether that's through the stress.
Of course it is.
Or what, I don't know. I'm popping paracetamol like Smarties.
That's the worst thing to take. You don't.
Yeah, I'm not right, left, and centre, but I try to limit it to just try and get rid of the headache. To even just if it's only 2 a day, just to sort of like chill me a little bit towards the end of the night, give me a bit of, because my brain hurts now.
It's not good, is it?
No, I might have to go and I'm going to get my eyes tested just in case it's my eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's something else.
If I had wanking.
We're back to that's where we start wanking. That's right, we start back the wank. Anyway, I'm going.
If I had a scan, they'd find fuck all anyway.
Anyway, I've run out of gin, so I'm going to go. So anyway, Alan, we'll see you, Spear Chucker. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Yep.
I'm moving. I'm moving house, but I don't know where I'm moving to. I keep going to see all these houses, but I can't find. It's my partner. Because she's a fabulous cook.
Are you staying there, or are you still going over to the States, or what?
Yeah, we're off to the end of probably next year. Anyway, so
you're still going there?
Yeah, we're still going. Yeah.
So what? How are you going to see all these houses then? You flying over to have a look at them?
No, I've sold my house here. We've got to have to sell this because I've got to be ready to go when they say right, you're coming. So it'll be probably in the year. So that's what's going to happen. So I'm selling. So I keep going around looking at all these houses, but my partner's got this thing about she's a fabulous cook, and so but she needs lots of space, you know.
Yeah.
And so every house we go, kitchen's not big enough. Can't get enough cupboards. The kitchen ain't big enough. For fuck's sake, give me a break. You know, all I need is a primer stove and a kettle. You know, and that be, you know. But, I mean, a bottle of gin, champagne. You know, anyway, but so that's tomorrow. That's what we've got to see 2 houses tomorrow. Seen a couple of nice houses, but you know, not quite. We saw a big one. Saw an enormous house today, but there was a guy living in it, and the place. It was a nice house, but it needed work. And when I walked in there, and the smell was bad. Somebody living in there. Opened the cupboards, and it's full up with stuff to be pushed in, not just folded, just thrown in. Toys, kids' stuff, and it was disgusting. Absolutely. And I thought to myself, would I want to move into a house that this man had just left? No, I fucking wouldn't. You know. And I said to the agent, I said to her, is this house going to be decorated and completely clean? She went, I don't think so. The landlord will probably let you take it on as it is. I thought, fuck that. I'm not moving the house like with some stinking shitbag's been living there. And, you know, you don't know what he's been doing, him and his kids. I mean, the place looked like a pigsty. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. I mean, it wasn't just, the carpet felt sticky, you know, and I didn't want to go in the loos. I didn't know what I was going to find there, you know. And you know, it was, and then I walked in, and there's this guy sitting there, and he's sitting on his phone, giving it plenty, like I'm so fucking brave and big tough guy, you know, like what are you looking at? Sort of one of these, like, you know. And I sort of looked at him, and I thought, and I just couldn't be bothered. I didn't even say hello to him. I just ignored him, you know, and walked out. I thought, what a fucking dirtbag! How could you be sitting in a place where your house is so disgusting?
Was it rank?
If I saw you in the street, I'd go, I went in your house, you fucking pig. You know, because pigs living better than that was, you know.
So it was rank, was it?
Oh, it was rank. Yeah. It was
minging.
Lovely house.
What was the word you used? Minging?
Minging? Honestly, it's just like looks like a woman wore a pair of knickers for a week and then turned them inside out and wore them for another week. You know, that's what it smelled like. It was absolutely. And Maxie's going. She said, "Well, you know, with a deep clean, it'd be fine." I thought, oh, fucking nowhere would I want to come to this. Nowhere would I want to live there.
Behind all that junk might have been a pot of gold.
Well, you live there. I'll go 50-50 with you.
Anyway, we'll see you soon, brother.
Yeah. I'll see you next week. Spear Chucker. Take it easy, mate. Love to Jenny.
Yeah, and, likewise. I'll be in the foxhole after this, so I'll put a link in Wake Up if anyone wants to join me.
You're going on do your bit then. I might jump on for a few minutes, Spear, and just say hello.
All right.
Well, I'll see you, Alan. I'll speak to you soon. Yeah, keep in touch, and I'll keep sending the filthy stuff for you.
Yeah.
Spear Chucker. Take it easy, babe.
Likewise. Take care. God bless.
I'll see you in a bit, Spear. So that's it, folks. Good night from all the guys, and we'll just close the show down now. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everybody in the YouTube for joining us, and thank you for everybody on Wake Up UK. I'm sorry I couldn't engage with the guys on Wake Up. I was just looking at some of the chat, and thank you to everybody that's been with us tonight. Jesus Jones, Moira, Camone, and everybody that's in YouTube. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and have a good weekend coming up. So speak to you soon. Lots of love and respect to every single one of you.